Do you guys think I would make a good fact checker? Why not? Do I need to get a job at the Snopes in order to become the fact checker? Like, if today I don't have the job, I'm really bad at fact checking. If tomorrow I'm hired, I'm amazing. My word becomes law. How does it work? Like, how do you become a fact checker? But anyway, I'll do my best. So, as you guys know, I support Ukraine due to the geographical position that I'm in. And the historical connotation. It's very difficult to be pro-Russian when you're Romanian. But I do understand that some Westerners don't. For various reasons. Usually financial. They wonder, like, why do we have to pay so much taxes for the war effort when it's happening half across the world away? Okay, I'm not going to try to convince you in this video, but what I am going to do is to point out something that I keep seeing, and it's bewildering me because for some reason it's catching on. And I don't understand, like, look, regardless of where you are on the issue, you should at least not be misinformed. So there's many videos on Twitter right now. All of them are gaining popularity. They get hundreds of thousands of views. Usually with how Californian developers call it unrealistic depictions of women. And it's pretty much like Ukrainians having normal lives. Whether they're at the beach, at a club, you know, somewhere. And it's like, well, this a beach club in Kiev during the war. It's like during the war. And you can see developing. There are currently party at the beaches in war toward Kiev, Ukraine. Please keep them in your prayers. So there's a lot of snark. A lot of, like condescending. Like the message is clear. It's like, oh, well, if there's a war, why are these people at the beach? How dare they? Now, I will tell you the reality. First of all, just because there's a war doesn't mean that the front line is everywhere. Like, do you understand how this works? The front line, I think, is around 500 kilometers away from Kiev. Like, that's almost an entire day of driving in order to get there. Kiev, from what I know, is getting usually bombarded at night, so there are air raids. They're not as frequent as they used to be. But other than that, yeah, like, if you're in Kiev right now, it's not the front line. If you were in Kiev last year, it was really bad. There is a war in Ukraine where the front line is very bad, but behind the front line, okay, like, do we understand what we're talking about? Is this too difficult to understand? Because it's a little bit bewildering, but like Ukraine country, big, grande, it's not like a small city. Jesus, like, I don't understand, like, how these messages are even catching on. Like, even if I was not pro-Ukraine, I would still look at it and be like, well, how can people be this stupid? But maybe I'm missing the point. Maybe I don't understand the wisdom that is being trying to be portrayed here. It's like, well, if there's a war, everyone should be depressed. Like, everyone should be in their homes mourning. The reality is that if you look at human history, regardless of the tragedy, yes, it includes war, most people do try to move on with their daily lives. I mean, when the Operation Barbarossa happened, Germans in Berlin were actually going about their daily lives. When the Americans stormed the beaches at Normandy, people in Washington, D.C. were going about their daily lives. I'm pretty sure, like, people in Moscow were getting about their daily lives when Stalingrad was under attack. Now, the people in Stalingrad weren't going around their daily lives. The people on the beaches of Normandy weren't going around their daily lives when, you know, it's like where the front line is and a certain radius around it. Yes, the way of life is severely affected, but when you're hundreds of kilometers away, yes, even during wartime, people try to take their mind off of it. And they try to live on their daily lives as if not much has changed. This is how people cope. And by the way, it happens with tragedies and it happens with the opposite. Like, for example, someone that loses an arm. You know, it's a tragedy for that person. And after they wake up, they're going to try to cope with the situation. But after a couple of months, sometimes even maybe later, like a couple of years, they're going to try to have a normal life without the limb. Like, the human mind is really capable of adjusting with whatever. Now, this also happens with positive things. Like, if you win the lottery and you become filthy rich, you're not going to wake up every single morning and be like, oh my god, I'm so rich. No, like after living a luxurious lifestyle for a couple of months, you're probably going to get used to it. And you're going to wake up and it's going to be like a normal day. You may go out in your Hassan Piker-like mansion, but you're going to feel that, well, this is normal. Like it's not going to be the same like in day one. So yeah, like human beings are very capable of adapting to changes in situations, for better or for worse. This doesn't mean like they're not affected by the word. This doesn't mean that they're being disrespectful or anything like that. It simply means that, well, I'm pretty sure like the citizens that you see in the pictures are definitely trying to move on with their lives, and they're hoping that the war will be over soon. Because everything can change in a conflict. Like today, the front line can be 500 kilometers away. Tomorrow it can be 1,000 kilometers away, or it can be literally next to you. You don't know, right? So it is stressful. People are trying to get away from that. I don't know how these videos are becoming viral again. It's just absolutely bewildering. It's just mind-numbing. Another question is like, why are there so many men in these videos? Like, when I looked at the videos, it's actually overwhelmingly women. Like, I haven't seen so many women in one place. I don't know exactly how the Ukrainians have done it, but usually the draft doesn't target 100% of the population. Like, you still want people to be able to carry the economy. So, it depends. Usually it's based on a volunteer force. Sometimes there are men that maybe under the age of the draft. So, like, if they're 17, certain countries make exceptions. Like, if you manage to go to university, that you're drafted a little bit later. Like, for example, if you want to be a doctor, right? Like, the army needs medics, the army needs engineers, the army needs specialists. So they will allow you to finish your university studies before drafting you. You may have certain illnesses that make it incompatible to be drafted. So, for example, if you have asthma, diabetes, other things. Right, so, like, I genuinely do not know why these videos have gained so much popularity, but hopefully I did explain the situation. Hopefully your country never has to experience warfare, and if you look at history, when your country did experience warfare, people did behave in a similar manner. And of course, there are certain outliers, like some people may be a lot more reserved and resigned. They may choose to isolate themselves and not partake into public activities during this time. Other people may be the opposite. Other people may not care. I mean, I have seen certain individuals on OnlyFans, one day posting that their brothers has passed away in conflict, and the next day posting their ushikushi pictures. Some people may say that's in poor form. Whatever, not my place to judge. But what I am trying to say is that there are outliers. Like, you're going to find different people coping with the situation in different ways. Some of them acceptable, some of them disrespectful. But anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.